Okay, well, here we are. I'm so excited to see you all here tonight. I've been anticipating this call now for several days, and I know there's lots of excitement surrounding our guest tonight. So I want to go ahead and just jump right in. Carissa, I've been looking forward to this. I've been your guest. Now you get to be my guest, and I'm just thrilled to have you. Um, there's so much of your backstory that I want people to know about. And so let's just kind of start with a little bit of your story. Like, how long have you been with It Works? How did you find It Works? And just a little of your growing story.
All righty. So I'm Carissa. I'm in New Jersey. We were just talking about degrees. It's 34 here. I've been with the company now for 9.5 years. I joined from a conference call. I got a text message telling me that I needed to get on this conference call that night. And I was like, oh boy. I had done previous network marketing. My sponsor was my sponsor in both other network marketings. So I was like, oh, I already know what you want, but I'm nosy. So I need to get on and see what you what you want me on here for. So I listened into that call. I texted a few friends and had them listen too, because everybody's doing it together. That's just my mindset. So afterwards, I was excited. I was messaging back my friends and calling them. I'm like, oh my gosh, can you imagine? It's only 24 people needed to go diamond. Now, that's me in my head. Now, everybody else may think it was a lot, but me in my head, I'm like, 24 people to go diamond. That's all. That's all you need. And I was listening to Melody McFarland speak. So I'm listening to her on a conference call because we didn't have video back then. And it lit me. I joined the next day because that was the last day to join for the special for $99 before it went back to $300, but it ended up staying. So I was one of those procrastinators that jumped in because I thought it was going to go back up. So, and I got started then. And then I also bought my booster kit because my sponsor told me I needed this big package so that I make sure I have enough product for my first party. And I bought that too. So that was $500, got that kit. And my first month I went executive. My next month I went Ruby. And from there, I was just addicted to the rap cash. And I was just having a ball enjoying rapping people while still being a single mom of 2 boys at that time that was 1 and 6, and working full time as a medical assistant over 40 hours a week at an OBGYN office. And I think I was like 27 or something like that at the time, 27, 28. So it was an exciting beginning to, not only have the excitement, but the product that was selling itself. And I was pretty much just the person everybody told about it, and everybody was coming to me. So it was just word of mouth. Everyone kept coming to me, and I was just making $30 per rep and just rapping. And it just turned out to be something spectacular. That first year was just mind blowing.
Right? I bet you never could have anticipated that. Most of us feel that way. It's like you come in not knowing what to expect, and then you start having so much fun and making money along the way. So that was obviously your first year in business. Congratulations, by the way, on 9.5 years. I mean, if that doesn't say, I typed in the chat, no excuses, and you're definitely that woman. But you're also somebody who obviously has stick-to-itiveness, because just like you said in the very beginning, we did conference calls. Like, there was no video. So we've had to change and evolve through these last 9.5 years. So a little bit more of your story. So you said you had a 1 and 6-year-old when you started. Is that right? Okay.
Yep.
Have you added to that group, or do we have, or
No.
is it? Okay. Just checking. Okay.
No.
So the kids are a little bit older. So what does life look like today for you? How has it changed from even that first year when you came in?
Well, that first year coming in and going to my first Melody and a couple other people came up to see us that next month after I joined. So we were able to have a big group of people come together, and I got a certificate. We're going executive and things like that. So that was already exciting there, because I was able to see people be presented with their diamond jackets. And I was just like, oh, diamond jacket. Ooh, what's that? And so now about this. So now, okay, I get one of those for going diamond. So that was an exciting journey there, watching that. And then I went to my first conference, which then sold me because now I'm seeing people, and it's just like the person that stood out was just Tina Hatcliffe, seeing her with this baseball jersey on, being an ambassador on the floor, and then seeing the different steps of people on the Success from Home magazine, and they're standing in front of Fords and stuff. I'm like, these people making all this money, and it's not like they're flashy with it. And
Right.
that was things that I loved because I'm not a flashy person. So that materialistic stuff does not help me where someone tells me they're doing this and this. That's not what I love. And so that stood out to me and made me love it even more to want to now want to promote and rank up, because before I was just okay with being Ruby, making rap cash all day long, doing rap parties 2 to 3 and 4 and 5 a week, and doing events, because at that time I started going into vending events, and I was okay with that and getting loyal customers. But then I went to that conference and was able to see more, and I left conference and went Emerald my first month there. That was January 2013. I went diamond and got the diamond bonus in March of 2013. I went double diamond in April of 2013. My mom went diamond, so she was my diamond. And then from there, I was just like, it just expanded. Now I'm making more than I'm making working for someone, which then changed my mindset, because now I can see the end of the tunnel. I can see now that I'm able to make more doing this than I am working for someone. So now my attitude shift. Now I'm at work like I really want to be there, because now I really don't need y'all, but at the same time, I don't know how to say I need to leave. So I just continue to do both for the next year. I continue to pay off debt while I was doing it. And that way, that next year, when it was time to go, which was 2 years into being with It Works, I was able to leave. At the age of 30, I'm now working from home full time. I have a kid that was about to turn 3 years old 2 days later before I quit. And it's been an amazing journey. I went triple diamond April of 2015, which was 3 years later. A little small story that I forget in there. My enroller that actually texted me to enroll 6 months after I actually joined, he quit. And then right before I went triple diamond, I was actually my 3 levels of upline above that left also. So I'm double diamond with all of these different levels of enrollers, leaders, and all of this leaving. And what that actually did for me was, it didn't deter me. If anything, it opened me up to now being able to be closer to Melody, to now see more sidelines, be able to hang out with people I never knew. And then that opened my business up to now being able to see more people and more of what the company offered, and being able to see more hearts within the company, because I was going to these green carpets, hanging around the same people in the same clique. And then next thing you know, I was opened up to so much more. I went to my first retreat that I won, because now I qualified for Melody's contest and I started winning. So I went to my first retreat in the mountains. This was a whole different, out of my comfort zone type of situation, but I went and I won, and seeing that opened me up even more. And I went triple diamond that April of 2015 because of it.
Wow. Like, I'm watching this chat just blow up. You are truly an inspiration. And you said so many things there, Carissa, that I personally relate to you on. And that, going to that first conference and seeing just real everyday normal people on that stage that were having success, that is what It Works to me still continues to represent.
Yeah.
We've evolved, as a world. I mean, obviously a lot has changed since then, and we have all these different technologies and things, but that's what I'm so grounded in with our company. So I love that also impacted you. So powerful. And the fact that, you just said, and I'm sure there's probably maybe multiple people that might be on with us tonight who are hearing you say that all these uplines from you left, and you looked at that as kind of a blessing. Like, you just kept reaching for the top. You wanted to get closer to that fire. And I think that's just such a great representation of who you are as a person. So, yeah. Okay, so you took us from the beginning to, moving on up creating this career for yourself that was completely unexpected that now takes care of your family. So because of all the changes that we've gone through, obviously the last couple of years have been super weird for all of us. We do things like Zooms, so with that in mind, how are you running your business today and what is working for you?
So I used to be both social media. I became social media based like 2013, but also I still was in person. So I was utilizing social media to bring them in person. So my whole social media base was still local. It wasn't expanded to other states and countries and things like that. Everything was still local. And then now I'm just expanded it to it's just being all over the place. But on top of that, being the fact that everything has to be more so enclosed and being home, I'm okay with it. I work my business social media, but I still do events like once a month or so. I think I got one next week or something. One of my girls gonna let me know because I'll never write it down like I'm supposed to, but they tell me I'm supposed to have it. But so I do an event now every once in a while. It's not so often as I want to, only because I still take care of my dad full time. So I can't get out as much as I want to get out. So I have to limit that. But social media, I've continued to expand upon. This 4-in-1 has definitely helped me with not having that added stress of having to do so much more than I probably would have had to do, like missing sleep and getting up in the middle of the night like I used to. Like I used to literally just sleep for like 3 hours at a time with my phone on all the time and wake up every time I hear a bing because I would have to answer these people as soon as they was messaging me. And now it's a different story. Once I look at things differently now, I realized what was going on with me. It was anxiety and I didn't know it. And I finally was able to pinpoint that. So I've had my phone on silent for like 3 years now. And that's helped me so much with being able to balance life. And then from there, adding more stuff into it. So right now, life is social media full time, utilizing Facebook and Instagram. Instagram has always been my first. It's always only because I'm not so much of a small talker. Like I hate it. I don't know why. I just I just like you to get to the point only because I feel like I'm always doing something. So it's like get to the point. I swear everybody who knows me know my heart is there. And I really mean like, how are you and all of that? But I'd be like, just say it all in one breath, like just get it out. So that's just me. So I'm not a small talker. So Instagram lets me be to the point. It lets me do that. Facebook is more of a base of getting to know people and all of that, which is what I do with anyone who wants to be a distributor. They move over to Facebook. But the Instagram is the get to the point type of situation. It's always been that way with me. And so that's really how I work both of them differently. I get to be adsy on there. I get to talk, get straight to the point talk. I ask questions on there. Who wants to lose weight? Who wants to do this? Who wants to do that? That's the way I talk on there. And it works only because I'm a red personality too. I just like to get straight to that point, basically.
I think that's really awesome that you shared that tonight because that is 100% truth. I'm the opposite. I'm that relationship person. So I love all the chit chat and small talk. So Facebook is my jam, but I love that. And so for anybody who might be listening and they're more like you than they are like me, you just unleash the beast. Like there is now a potential to be able to do something different than what they've been doing before. So I love that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about host to post. Are you in the host to post game?
Yes, I am. It took a while only because I wasn't a fan of all the steps it took that I thought it took towards getting things accomplished and everything I had to do. And I would get a lot of people commenting and then I would delete the post or turn it to only me because I didn't want to respond back to all these people. It would just be like, ooh, it's too much. And then I finally caught a system in place because somebody, even when blitzing back in the day, like I've always been that person to find ways for people to come to me. That's always been me. Either it's a magnet on my car for you to call me or text me or come to me. It's my gear for you to call me, text me, or come to me. It's my post for you to come to me. Everything's always come to me. I've never been that go to you person unless, I have to. Like I gotta show you that I can do it or I'm provoked to have to do it. I'll do it. and I don't have no problem with it. It's just I like my bubble. Like I'd rather people come to me. So I do that with host to post. So my host to posts are based around putting out a post for people to comment on. I do it on social media, Facebook and Instagram, both. And it depends on the post, depends on the time of day. It depends on what I say. It's like they don't like to think. So the post needs to be as simple as possible. What time you see this? What's your zodiac sign? What's your favorite color? Anything competitive also. Unique names, your kids' names, something competitive too, because they rather that also. So I try to stick within those type of realms of things, and that gets people commenting. And my comments can one day be 10, one day to be 600, one day be 30. You know, it varies. So I continue to play with it, and then I put it in my stories. So on days I don't have a post on my page in relation to it, they still see it in my stories to comment, which still gets me a good 5 or so posts to post up that day.
So are you asking them if they want, or are you saying, you know, you're asking them the question and then are you saying to get into my drawing or to get information for the drawing? Okay, gotcha. Just want to make sure.
So yep. So they comment on the post, and then I'll send them a post and say, I'm gonna put this in, y'all. I'm gonna put this in the chat right now. Can y'all please forward this over to this chat in here, please? So whoever do it first, I will say thank you and say your name. So I basically say, hey, happy whatever day it is, and good evening. I would love to get you entered into my second drawing for this month, which is for 2000. It's super simple and easy to secure your entry. Just save this post, repost it, the graphic, and I'll attach that I attached ASAP. I tell them they got to do this ASAP. Attach this, do this ASAP in your stories and or on your page too. I'll give you 2 entries for doing both, and then let me know once you do it. That stops me from having to go back and check on you, because you're supposed to message me back once you did it. I also use graphics for host to post more so than them posting for me a copy and paste, because my patience is limited. So when people screenshot and post the wrong thing or send this part of the message along with the other, it just drives me crazy. So I'm like, just save it in post a graphic. And this lets them be able to post it on their page and their story. And the graphic is more so of a same question: who wants to eat gummies and do blah, 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 blah. Comment gummies or text gummies too, and my phone number is attached, as well as my social media handles so that they can find me.
I love that. And I'm just watching the comments in here. And by the way, you owe Stephanie, it looks like, thank you.
Thank you.
Trina. Trina too.
All y'all, look at y'all.
That is so awesome. Teamwork makes the dream work. We are all so much better together. I love that. So good. Carissa, I'm just so glad that you took some time out tonight to share all of your nuggets. You know, it's such a different perspective. This is what I love about our company, is that we all have different personalities and different styles. And that's how everyone learns. If I'm trying to teach people one way and that's the only way, then I'm setting people up for failure. So thank you for taking your time out and sharing that with us tonight. So is there anything in specific that you are jacked up about, excited about for these upcoming 10 days that we have laid out? Corporate did such a beautiful job for us. What are you most excited about? And what's one action that you're doing in preparation to build and grow during this time?
Okay, so I am excited. I got all of my guide here. I got all my printouts. I keep everything with me on my clipboard, so everything stays in front of me. So for me, I'm most excited about the fact that I have a ton of people that just want to try it and they don't want to pay retail. So my goal is to go back through my list, because every day I write down all the people I speak to. So I have a long list of people that I speak to, and I put the date I spoke to them. And I've been being very green lately by writing everything down. So this came in handy. So I'm basically going to message all of them starting tomorrow. I had one that actually wanted to today, so I told her I'll message you in the morning. So I'm messaging all of them to let them know, hey, I know you were interested at one point in time, and I know that you felt like it was a hard thing to try it for 90 days. What if I can let you try it for just 1 month and you still get my discount for doing so? Would you be interested in doing it? And so because I have those host to post text me a certain word, I know the word gummy. So I can easily go through my phone. Thank you, iPhone. and search the word gummy, and all of those phone numbers will pop up for me to copy paste that to each one of them.
Yeah.
So like I said, I'm to the point. So it's easy for me to just say, hey, how are you? And ask that question, because I'm not gonna sit and wait for like them to say, I'm great, how's your day? You know, so I get to the point. So
I love it. I just love it. You do you, boo. It's perfect. It's absolutely
my
perfect.
time be it's like time, like, because I have ADD too. So
Yeah.
my time is like this. So if I forget something, I need to like let it out then. I feel like if I wait for you to reply back, I'm gonna forget what I was saying to you.
Right.
So that's another reason. And
Yeah.
as you see, I write with breaks in between, because that's how I speak. And that helps me with people talking to me that same way. Because if you send me something and you break it up like that, I'll read it. But if you send me something that's all like this, I won't read it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. And I think this is awesome perspective. And I just love your transparency and how just right to the point that you are. So good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you a million times over. So great. I really appreciate having you here today. And now let's move on. We have Mr. Rusty Lackey. I'm so thrilled to have you here to share tonight as well. And Rusty, you know what? We've got some newer team members who are on the Zoom with us tonight, and people that will watch the recording that don't know your backstory. So I'm really hoping that that you'll share, you know, how you found It Works 20 years ago, and just grow your story from there. Just do Rusty for us.
Sure, absolutely. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. And we're coming on a holiday that you should be very thankful. If you live inside the United States of America, you should be very thankful. It's the greatest nation on earth, period. I don't care what they say. I've been all over the world. I was a senior vice president of a major top 5 bank from the Federal Reserve. Very poor when my wife and I got started, and vowed I was going to be a multimillionaire. And I just didn't know it was going to take a very long time to get there. I never quit. I know what it's like to be hungry with no lights, no food, and your wife pregnant with our first little girl that just got married last Saturday. I kept telling her what we were going to do. I'm dyslexic. I played ball at Georgia Tech in '83, and I learned differently. And they always tried to make me feel below and beneath, but those numbers really weren't good for me. And so I was able to catapult myself in banking because I could see things and figure it out. But now for what is most important to me, because I was born on a farm in Virginia. My father was a minister, but we also come from that farm. I'm the 4th generation firstborn. There's a lot expected out of the firstborn. And got into banking, got to doing very well. And I get a phone call in my office one afternoon, and it's my secretary, and she said, Rusty, Robin needs to speak to you right now. This time I got 2 little girls, and they played sports. I thought one fell, broke her arm or something. I said, what is it, Robin? She said, you're not going to believe it. I said, what? She said, I found a product where I could lose inches of fat in minutes. I said, well, praise the Lord. I'm glad somebody found it, but that's not going to happen, because at that point in time, I was very well in shape. And it was the applicator. So I come home, this lady's here to wrap my wife and a couple other gals that were here. And I took a Sharpie marker and marked them, because I did a tape measure, because I knew this lady was going to have my wife all excited, and it wasn't going to be true. And if it did, she'd lose anything, she'd blow up, and toxic bloat would come back in. And she lost like 2¼ inches in her waistline into 3 measurements. And the girl charged us, I think, $25. And Robin was happy. By the way, Robin, I've been with her 43 years, only girl I've ever dated. So I don't know what any of the rest of that stuff is like. I'm not saying it to brag. I just knew what I wanted when I saw it. And I was tickled she was happy. And the little girl said, oh, she's going to lose even more the next 3 days. I said, well, yeah, sure. I said, well, you'll have to be back in 3 days to prove it to me. She said, I'll be back. I said, Robin, I'm glad whatever happened to you, I'm glad it happened. That girl took our money. She's gone. You'll never see her again. I promise you. 3 days later, it's a Monday morning, the doorbell rang. I looked out the window. Ron, I said, oh my God, Robin, it's that girl. Get $25 more. She needs gas money today. And she came back in, and she was coming to prove me wrong. And I did the measuring. And Robin had some tremendous results, more results in the next 3 days. And then she said, see, I told you. I said, well, good. Hope you saved the world and the whales and all that stuff. I'm a banker. I'm really trying to make things happen. I did corporate takeovers, mergers, and acquisitions. I was always gone. I'm sacrificing what's most important to me at this time. Be careful what you pray for. I said, God, I want to take a lesser job at another bank. I want to come home locally. I can build a great hometown bank. I don't have to be on this jet set lifestyle because my little girls are growing up and I'm not at home. And so this girl asked Robin to have what we called a losers party back 20 years ago. And I looked at her, I said, well, you mean like get all the losers in town to come to my house? She said, no, just get everybody that wants to try this amazing rap, she called it. I called it the Fat Patch. And 23 ladies showed up to our home. They were eating, and you don't know what it is about you ladies and drinking wine. They was eating and drinking wine like they money grown trees. They didn't care, but all of them rapped. So I left that part of my house. I went into my office and I was just waiting for everybody to get out of here. And all of a sudden I started hearing this hooping and hollering and squealing. I said, oh my God, they want their money back. They've drank too much wine. They expanded and now they want all their money back. And there's going to be a fight upstairs in front of my children. So I run up to where they were and I seen the most excited ladies I'd ever seen in my life. And so, all right, what's the results? All 23 of them had some pretty good results. I saw a product that gave instant gratification without changing lifestyle. I started asking her questions. She's, oh, I don't know. There's no contingent plan for overgrowth. What is your funding like? When John PQ Public gets a hold of this, guess what's going to happen? It's going to explode. And she said, I don't know. I said, well, who knows? She said, Mark Pentecost. Now I heard about him because I actually read a book about him. I bought the book about him and Cindy. I was at an auction in Dallas, Texas. I got the book, got them both to sign. It's in my trophy case. And that's one of my prized possessions. And the next morning I was on the phone with Mark. I asked him a lot of questions, but I always thought right product, right time, somebody's going to get rich. It just will be me. And he said, you going to join me? I said, nah. I said, if your company's that good today, it'll be that good if I ever decide to do it. And so I was in transition, but I thought I was actually too good as a banker to do network marketing. And talk to Mark every day. In fact, I've only missed 3 days in 20 years of speaking to Mark and Cindy every day. And that's when my father died. And 7.5 months later, I called to fly out 3 hours late. And the story's fixing to really catch the next level of why I'm still here 20 years later, full time for 20 years. I called to fly out 3 hours late. My little girls was getting their awards for they played small sports or for grade school children. That year I missed a church Christmas function. I missed everything about their life. I come home on a Thursday. I saw a picture above my fireplace mantle of Robin and 2 girls. I thought, that's beautiful, but something was missing. It was me. And when I called to fly out 3 hours late, because I didn't have to be to New Orleans the next day, he said, no. And I said, why not? He said, because I said so. I said, oh, you micromanaging now. And that was my son. And I said, I've had enough. If not, somebody's going to get hurt. I'm going to go to jail. These are my children. I told my little girls, and I said, I'll never miss nothing the rest of your life. Flew in on Monday morning. I drove over to Charlotte, North Carolina, where you and I were that last Monday night. And I walked in his office and fired him. He said, I'm fired. I said, yeah, that means I don't work for you no more. He said, did you go to another bank? Like to Wells Fargo? I said, no, I'm done with banking. I'm going to go home and do network marketing. That Fat Patch thing you laughed at a few months ago, I'm going to go do that. He said, no, you're not. You couldn't. I said, no, that's what I'm going to do. He said, you're for real. I said, oh, yeah. For real. I said, but I need to tell you something. I appreciate what you said last Thursday. He's like a deer in the headlights. He said, what? I said, when you said because you said so, you made me realize what's most important to me, and it's not you. It's my 2 little girls, so I see you. I bounced out of there, so I'm coming up I-85 where you and I were all the way home, and I'm excited, but then I'm getting upset. I'm thinking, oh my God, I didn't tell Robin. So I need to call my father. I said, run over to the house and tell Robin I just quit my job. He said, why do I have to tell her? I said, because, well, I didn't. My daddy had zero disrespect for women. That's why I've only been with one girl in my life. And he said, no, you're in this all by yourself. So I crossed the Yadkin River and I had a group called Leonard Skinner. They was playing Sweet Home Alabama. I don't know why the song, the ambiance was just right. The drum beat, it just caught my ear. It reminded me right before we took the field in Georgia when we played football. I backed in my driveway, come up the steps and told Robin what I'd done. And she said, you're joking. I said, I ain't joking. I was thinking I might have to relocate to Alabama here in a few minutes because she's not going to take this well. And she didn't. And it's something about losing an acronym in front of your name. And those is what creates a false sense of security for everybody. And she just couldn't believe I just quit. Now I've got 2 daughters and life is good for us, except I'm not here. Told her what I was going to do. She could become instantaneously demon possessed. And I know none of you ladies ever did that. There's a green mist enveloped room. I started looking in the phone book for a priest so I could have an exorcism going on because I knew she was demon possessed. I went and called Mark. I said, me and you need to get started. He said, you're going to do this? I said, yeah, I'm going to do it full time. And Mark said, full time. I said, yeah, I just quit the bank a while ago. You sold me a vision and a dream. Let's go do it. He said, you what? I said, don't you get candy ass on me now. My wife's fixing to collect some insurance on me. We got to get started. So here's the dynamics of your program. Every day you're in this, you're developing your story. Your story is the most important thing you'll ever have in your entire life. And so that particular day were the first 10 people that I called because there was no social media. There's just internet was in its infancy. We had fax machines. We had used to fill out all this paperwork. They said no. I didn't care. But the next 6 people said yes. We started working with those 6 people. And because we never quit, all y'all are here today. And I'm not saying it ain't me, it's just y'all. And 28 days later, we were working 18, 20 hours a day on the phone, doing conference calls, 3-way phone calls, just as hard as we could go. 7 days a week. We built the organization of 535 people. No, 635 people in 28 days. I was 636. I hit double diamond. The business was like crazy. I didn't even know what I'd done. It took a lot more people to get to where y'all are now than it did then. We made just under 10,000 the first month. And I'm not saying that to brag. That was nothing nowhere near what I made as a banker. I was at 550 a year, not counting the perks. I come upstairs to show Robin what I did where I'd not been for the last 28 days. I had to sleep on the couch in my office, but every evening my daughters would come down the steps with a little silver tray their moms got with peanut butter sandwiches and little glasses of milk. And I sit on the floor with my headset on and I do those 3-way phone calls, and I got to love on my children, help them with their homework. But I saw the confidence start to rise in my children. I saw they started doing a little bit better in school. I saw daddy's at home now. And now you got to kill me to get me to stop. And so we just started pounding it. And 2 years later, I started getting sick. Eyes got all blurred up. Started having these terrible headaches. In the next 4 years, I went from 258 to 750 pounds. I had a stress-induced tumor wrapped around my pituitary. I had to go through the medical treatment for 9 months. It was the most horrible thing ever. Here I am, very large, very sick, and then they give you 6 months to live. The calves of my legs are so big around, they had extreme lymphedema, they had abscess and rupture, and they were going to cut those off and gave me 6 months to live. And life looked really grim. But that check kept coming. And after the treatment, I'd be so sick, but I'd get a phone call to do a 3-way. And y'all did more for me than I ever did for y'all. I would take me out of this place where I was so sick and I was in this big recliner. I couldn't hardly do anything. I'd get in at 3 when I start talking about the visions and the dream of where we were going, and how we were working hard on this story. And one thing my father did, he come to my home. He was with me the day the doctor said it's over, he and Robin. And he picked my big leg up and he looked at the bottom of my foot. I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm looking for an expiration date. That's the I'm about to ready to give up at this point because I'm sick. And when the guy in the white coat tells you it's over, normally you believe that. And it's what you believe and what you listen to that sets the posture for where you're going to go. Mm-hmm. And he said, look, and he said, you don't have an expiration date. I said, you mean like going to the grocery store, looking in the dairy? Uh-huh. And then he said, I didn't raise you to be weak. I raised you to be a warrior. And now you're in the fight of your life. And it clicked. And about 3 hours later, I had a little conversation with my daughters, and I got up and started moving. I had to walk these 2 platform canes. I couldn't walk far. But in my mind, all I could see is getting my health back. All I could see is where I was going to go. And about that time, we come on with the nutrition, with the greens and all the stuff we had. And I started megadosing that stuff so I could get alkalized. And here I am today, 15 years later. I haven't had a medication in my body in 15 years. This November the 15th, I've lost 507 plus pounds. I'm not saying I can't get sick. I'm not saying I can't, but I work on me every day. I exercise hard every day, and I rarely miss because I'm committed to a new way of life. And see, I told you that. I hope nobody has that story ever. Your story is just as important as mine, where it's 3 pounds, 10 pounds, 50 pounds. God forbid it was like mine. Your story is the most important thing you've got. You've got to learn how to effectively communicate your story. Today is all we all have. And you cannot, you just one day at a time is how you win. And people ask me, well, how did you do it? I said, I got committed for the rest of my life to go make this thing happen, to work on me. You're going to be doing something the rest of your life. The one thing we all got is we have an expiration date. And we act like we're going to live 500 years, and we keep pissing time away, and we just keep making excuses about why, because we're listening to all these penny stock people that tell us that won't work. That person that told you it won't work, they's the ones that won't work. I've proven this thing works. We've done billions of sales through our organization. I've made millions of dollars. And I'm not bragging about that, but I ain't the only one. I've got a whole organization full of millionaires, and we ain't satisfied. We're still hungry. Today, I turned the marriage license in for my daughter. They're off on their honeymoon. And as I go in, I have to our new courthouse, and I go to the back, and I'm kind of ill because they frisked me and all that stuff. They even know who I am. But it was for a reason. I got to talking to the one girl. There's 8 ladies work back there. I started telling her a little bit about my story. Oh my God, you mean you did what? Uh-huh. I was able to take them to my truck. They wouldn't let me take my phone and show them my before and afters. I wrote a pretty good book. It's a bestseller for me. It's sold a lot. I give all the money to the sex trafficking of humans. But I was able to tell them my story in about 2 minutes. I call it the two-minute pitch of sharing just the highlights of your story. Within an hour after I left, I pick up 8 customers from going up there sharing my story, which I did not want to go. I had other things to do. And I'm kind of like Carissa. The older guys, we're learning the hosted posting, and we get a lot of customers every month. We're building a good solid team through that. But I work every avenue. I don't mind doing a lot of 3-ways. I don't mind doing the conference calls. I don't mind doing the Zooms. But wherever I am, I'm a walking, talking billboard. If opportunity presents itself, I'm going to seize it. And no, don't bother me. And so if you're tired of being broke as a joke, physically, financially, in every area of your life, you need to look at what am I participating in and who am I participating with? And all I did with Mark and I, when we talked about filling Coliseums up, and we're going to do this and that and the other, the first meeting we had was with Pam Souter, Mark Pentecost, and myself in Raleigh, North Carolina at Fuddruckers, a little greasy spoon hamburger joint. And we were talking about the dream and the vision, where we're going to go. And we just got in and started working. And I'm going to tell you this part of my story. Me being the 4th generation firstborn, my grandfather fought under General George Patton in the Second World War. And I now have all the medals. And he was sharing how he got all the medals and the leadership and shine your shoes. Everything about me growing up, there's some form of leadership there was implanted in my head. You got to look the best, be the best, but you never quit, ever. When you start something, you are a finisher. That is your integrity and your character on the line. Everybody else can tap out, but we're going to be the last ones to tap out. And we got to the last 3 medals, and he got all dried up on me. Been talking about unconditional love. You love something so much, you just go get it. And then he didn't want to talk about the last 3, but he had to actually kill people. He said, your freedom is not free. You have to put it all on the line. And now I'm like 5 years old. I don't like, what? We weren't talking about killing people a while ago. We were talking about shining shoes and your brass. And so here's how he explained it to me. He said, for the love of your grandmother, the love of your father, I knew one day you were coming. My firstborn grandson was coming. He said, I'm in a unique position right now. I had all sisters and daughters. My daughter got married, and at the wedding, I said, I'm giving you 12 months to have your grandson. God, I hope. And they said, what if it's a little granddaughter? I said, I know how to spoil you grand girls, the girls, but I need a grandson. So we're working as smart, harder than we ever have after 20 years. I don't even have to, but I know he's coming. But Mark and I and Pam and I, we knew y'all were coming. If we would have tapped out when it got really hard, or when software crashes, Rhonda, you and Ray were there, and we had the rap shortage, when all that stuff, we could have just said, hey, let's go do something else. No, we chose to stand and fight and build a solid foundation and continue to create the story. That is your history, but your history does not mean anything. Unless you got a history of quitting, that's probably what your future looks like. But you can draw a line in the sand this very second and say, I'm going to follow the 4-in-1 system. I'm going to find out who's doing what and how they're doing it, and I'm going to do it too. If I can duplicate you young kids, Shame on you if you're not doing it. And I'm like Rhonda, I would rather show up at a hotel room, a conference call, a three-way, or show up in person and look you in the eye and talk to you and tell you what I got. See, there's a molecular energy that can transfer from you being able to effectively tell your story. That passion to transfer from one person to the next. I don't care how good you can type or how beautiful your posts are. And Carissa has told me so much. God almighty, she has. But when we get on that phone call and you can ask the right questions and find out what that person is in need of, and you show up when your people call you, right then, it doesn't matter from 4 a.m. to 11 o'clock, I'm on call. I'm ready to seize the moment. That's just how I live my life. And you got to be there to support your team. That's why they call it team. This ain't no one-man show or one-woman show. None of us got to the next level by ourselves. There's a whole host of people that got Mark to where he is, I'm to where I am, Rhonda to where she is, Carissa to where she is, all you guys that are coming. And you have to reach down in the depths of your organization. You work from the bottom up for the people that want to work. But make up your mind, I'm not going to waste any time begging you to do what you're supposed to do. So it's kind of like having a job. See, every hour you work, you bring the value to the hour. If you're working a job, you're a boss person or whoever signs your check, well, he puts the value on your hour and you have to agree to it. Well, I got tired of agreeing to that. I thought I was just worth more. They're going to only pay you what you'll show up and do, and you're going to only do what they'll pay you for. And that's called mediocrity. And the more you stay there and work, the better you get at it. And so you work 30 years. I was told when I was younger, I said, I'm going to be a millionaire. I want to do my own thing. They said, oh, no, son, get a job and get you some benefits, some insurance. Go to the post office. So I said, well, okay. I went to the post office. I filled out a draft card for the war. And then I filled out an application. They never called me. I'm thank God they didn't call me because I'd have got trapped in all that mess. I've had this entrepreneur spirit. And the way I could duplicate myself through the success of other people is through direct sales. It's the most noble business model, in my opinion, in the entire world. I've never seen nothing any better. We all have to win as a team. See, Rhonda and I are sideline brothers and sisters. We're cousins at the family reunion. Yeah. But we all have to win. That's what creates solvency and the opportunity, our stability and our opportunity to move forward. You're going to have people to go and you're going to have people to come. You're going to have people to come back and people to quit. If I can talk you out of it for 50 cents, somebody can talk you out of it for a quarter. And see, when you make up your mind, I ain't a quitter. I'm on, and see, the one thing is the people that are watching you is your children, your grandchildren, your brothers, your sister, and most people have become very predictable. And what I mean by that, they're going to know, well, I'll give her 2 weeks. Just like she did that last deal. In 2 weeks, it got hard and you quit. It's kind of like exercising when I was large. I can only walk about 10 or 15 foot at a time, and now I can run 20 miles. It's not a joke. I lift weights heavy, I MMA fight, and I'm not saying that to brag. I do that just for exercise. I'm not actually in competition with nobody except me. How did I lose the weight? It didn't happen if I couldn't have lost it all in 90 days or a year. It's not going to work. No, it's been 15 hard years. I'm nowhere close to where I'm going in this business or in my health. I've got so much more to accomplish and to do, and I cannot do it without y'all. I cannot do it if you're not creating the story. Our product line is so unique that I'm confident that's the reason I could get sick tonight. Hell, I don't know, but I consistently take it. I've never not ran an auto ship in 20 years. Yeah. And I still order stuff that I need after the auto ship. Oh God, I'm running low. I can't be out of that. Because what I put into my body keeps me from being a customer for the medical people. Yeah. And you're not a patient, you're a customer. If you're paying them to do something, you're a paying customer. Here's my goal in life. If I can help you get out of debt and I can help you get healthy to where you don't need that other kind of be that other customer, we take you out of the system 2 different ways. That means that puts you in ownership of your life, puts you in ownership of your finances. And if you're smart with your money and if you're not smart with your health, you're going to be broke anyway. If you work harder on you, see, you got to become the most important person in your life. And if you're not important to you, you're a liability to your wife or to your husband or your kids and everybody else. Until you become it. See, that's what had to happen to me. Because I said, well, I'm going to put my kids first. I'm doing this for the kids. I was doing it for the kids, but I had to become the number one in my life. So I wouldn't be a liability to my wife or kids because I got very sick and those hospital bills got very large and I didn't have that very large amounts of money right then. Mm-hmm. And when you make up your mind, I'm important and every day I'm going to get up, I'm going to make a commitment to myself. Now you become an asset to your spouse. You become an asset to your kids. You become an asset to everything you touch. You're an asset because you're what? You're investing your time wisely. You start to invest in things that get you a return, an ROI. And if you're just wasting time or wasting money with penny stock people, you're wasting it. You're not investing it. See, the one thing that we cannot get back is time.
Mhm.
You have a 4-in-1 system that I've never had this. I'm now getting to participate in bonuses, Rhonda. This is kind of
Right?
cool. It's after 20 years, he put me in a position where I could get some bonuses now, and I'm getting every one I can get. 4-in-1 is the most simple thing you can. If you do it 3 times by December the 10th, midnight, that's 3,500 additional Christmas dollars.
Right?
That's 1,500. That's $500 a person that you went out and poured yourself into. It's not the mass recruiting. It's in the depth of helping those people duplicate and being able to teach the duplication.
Yes.
I'm gonna project this right here for what I understand is coming just for the end of the year. But next year, we're gonna break more millionaires next year than we broke in the history of the company. You'll have a whole new team of millionaires hit by this time next year, because the momentum's kicking, all the stuff they got in place. Mark is not playing. In fact, he's gotten more vicious than I've ever seen him in 20 years about helping you own your time, helping you, put you in a position to win. That's not going to be easy. You don't get to sit on your ass and take this ride and you just hope I get caught up in the draft. No, you're going to have to go to work like a CEO. If you're going to make that kind of money, you have to work like one. Now, Rhonda, you've been in the Millionaires Club, and Rhonda and I are very fortunate to be in the other Millionaires Club.
Yeah.
And you know what? The beautiful part about that, it wasn't easy, but I can tell you how we got there. We never quit. We never quit believing in us. We never quit working with each other. We never quit believing in y'all. I promise to God, y'all will quit believing in you before I will. And if you'll just make up your mind, I'm going to do this because I'm worth it. My family's worth it. If you fall down, I'll grab you and I'll drag you to your knees shine. Scale the fence of freedom. You ever get a taste of this free life where you throw the alarm clocks in the trash because we don't live by that time any longer. We don't punch anybody else's clock, but we're going to be up earlier than everybody else, and we're going to go to work, and we're going to be working long after they go to bed because we're now the multimillionaire CEOs of our life. And you can't have this one back. See, that gives you something to fight for, but it gives you something to die for. You cannot have my freedom. If you come to get it, you better be one bad person or a bad group of people, because the fight will go down right here. They'll have that on every news media that you've seen. Oh, we tried to go get his freedom and it didn't work out like we thought it was going to. Do you know why? Because we're people of impact. When I can go out and take my creativity and apply myself every day in a particular manner that adds value and enriches other people's lives, you know what's going to happen? When I add value to other people, that gets you to think, I deserve it. I don't deserve wasting all my time. I deserve this. And you work harder on your business at night, and when you can, then you work harder on your job, because when you leave the job, you're now the CEO of your own big business.
Right.
And see, when you speak to yourself, what are you telling yourself every day? Well, if I could just make a couple dollars and pay that bill, you're gonna always be broke. That's what you're telling yourself.
Yeah.
No, in 12 months, I will owe no debt. I won't owe nobody nothing, and I'll have abundant supply of everything I need. When you start talking to yourself like that, there's a transition that happens in your aura, and things, you start to attract the right people because they want to be with people that are what? Going somewhere and that are winning.
Yeah.
Nobody ever want to run around with a bunch of losers, did they? I didn't. I like to win. But you know what it takes? I played football a lot of years. There's 58 men on the roster, 11 men on the field at the time, and every man had to execute his position every single time, or you sit on the bench. I didn't like to sit on the bench. I like to leave the field very dirty. That's where I got in the game and fought it, because you have to have a very strong why. My why was those 2 little girls that I got to be a full-time daddy. I never missed any more time of their life. I was there every school function, every time we rode them out and flew out of the country, to making 20 years of memories. Being a full-time husband to the woman I love more than, can't even think of anything I love more than Robin. She's been there, and the one thing I know, I can count on her. I don't care what it's going on. She's been with me through all the craziness. I can always count on her. And so when you make up your mind, here's what I want to ask you, Rhonda, then where you want to go with this. There's not a better thing in this world when somebody says, hey, I know I can count on her. I know I can count on him.
Wow.
I can count on them to be there. There's not a better accolade in this world than somebody knows that they can count on you, because what? Your word is golden, because your actions speak louder than any words you ever say. Rhonda, anything else you need from us, or any questions you want to ask?
Rusty, you're just amazing. I'm just so grateful that you took your time tonight. I mean, honestly, I've been watching the chat. I know you've just moved a lot of people, and when I sit here and listen to you talk, you know, there's a couple of words that pop into my mind, and one of them is commitment. And I think it's, you know, the way that you presented that, your story and your experiences with us, your marriage, all the things, commitment is the word that I just feel like this has screamed tonight. And I know that most of us on a daily, or at least multiple times a week, have frustrations and letdowns and consider quitting. People like you and I and Carissa, maybe, who have this longevity with our company and we have that commitment and we've grown through it, may not. But there's a lot of people that do. And I think you just really brought it on what that commitment really means when it comes to your business, and then collectively, even all of us together. I don't know. I'm honestly, I'm kind of like jumbling with my words because I'm really moved.
Well, you know what, Rhonda, commitment is when I married Robin, I said, till death do you part. That means I got to die. If something happens to my wife, God forbid, I'm done. I got daughters and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have some grandkids. At least I've told him, you better hurry up some. And but here's how you got to think it. If you're going out of every blessing you pray for, God sends you the problem. You conquer the problem, you find the blessing, and it becomes abundant. You know why? Because you're not mature enough to handle it. This is not the lottery. So you have to work through to get the blessing. So did all of you go to the first grade? Raise your hand, put a 1 in the chat if you went to the first grade. Did you do pretty good? Everybody do pretty good in the first grade? Learn how to read a little bit. Dick and Jane, you did math, yeah. Why did they put you in the 8th grade from the first? Oh, you weren't mature enough to go, so we had to go to the next little step. Yeah. The 2nd grade, they put a little more on you, a little more pressure, a little more demand. Then the 3rd, all the way up to you finished 12th grade. How you got your diploma, you got it. And then some of us went to college for a little bit. But it's like when you get your driver's license. My daddy told me, he said, I was at 12. He said, you know, when you can get a driver's license, you can drive by yourself. I said, let's go get it. He said, you're not mature enough, son. Can't get it till you're 16 back all those years ago. Everything I could learn about the road and this, that, and the other. He said, because you have to be anybody can be an offensive driver, but you got to be a great defensive driver. You have to allow for other people, obstacles, turns, and all the things that come as you drive down the road. 16, bam, and at 21, you become a real voting human being, or you did back then. I don't know what it's like now. But every step is I can handle more responsibility because I went through the test and I passed the test. It's nothing different here. I passed these tests, and God sends you those blessings, and what? He sends them in the way of a problem because we're not mature enough to handle. The last couple of years have been a big test for everybody in the world. There's some people who quit, all kinds of. We was not mature enough to handle the blessing that's on its way here. And it's on its way at warp speed. I know, I get to see a lot of that stuff, and it's on its way here. But if you don't pass the test, I wish I would. I wish I wouldn't have quit. No, you got to fight through it. So even in my grandfather fighting in the war and the D-Day, freezing his legs and they had to take him off the front lines where he got frostbit. And he said in 3 days, he said, I was back fighting again because he loved his country. Everything you're going to go after is worth having. You're going to have to fight for it. And you can't sit there and watch TV or scroll on social media, look out the window in that days. You got to be in action. Only thing you're scared of, somebody going to tell you no. Hell no, ain't never hurt nobody. Never broke my leg and ain't never busted my lip. And I had a lady that I was at the gas station. She's talking about the gas. I said, yeah, about 2 years ago, I filled my Suburban. It was like $59. Today it's $120. And she said, you act like one of those lions. So I'm not no lion. I said, I'm a wolf. She said, a wolf. I said, I never seen a wolf trained at Barnum and Bailey Circus when that was around. I seen a lot of lions and tigers, but I never saw a wolf because a wolf will not quit and he runs in a pack and they always win. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean that to be, I'm vicious. I just don't know how to quit. If you ever get to a life challenging experience when they say you're going to die, something clicks here. If I can overcome that, this little bit of business stuff ain't nothing. And if you tell me, I don't care if you tell me no, but here's no. No is nothing more than a seed that you just planted. They're not ready yet. if you consistently show up every single day for all these years, people are going to look at you like, wow, they're serious about what they're doing. They won't quit. That stuff does work, because all we're all working on is your what? Before and afters, physically, financially, not quitting, your integrity, your character. Everything you're doing is building character. I never met one CEO or person that made millions or billions that wasn't very disciplined in their character and the way they do things, but they're the first ones there to show up. They'll put all the work in, and they're there after you need to go take a break and go home and like you're just exhausted, because that's the way you've been programmed.
Right.
When you program your stuff, I can tell you you tell me what books you're reading, what you just got through reading, what you just started reading, I can tell you exactly where you are right here. If you want to be the CEO, leaders are readers, and you're going to read books, and you can see the knowledge that has nothing to do with it. It's what you apply in your life. Does that work? Well, if it's working for those guys, all human beings are all the same. If it's working for them, why won't it work for you? Well, it will if you do it, and you don't tap out to quit. See, that's the beautiful thing about where we are in this thing. See, some of the people I heard you talk about, well, Carissa's like one away from me now. She's compressed all the way up under Melody. Melody's under us. And, you know, I don't know where she started. I remember when she got going. I remember that. But now God is going to bring you everything you need. And that compression kicks up. That's where we help design this program, this comp plan. That compression is a big deal. And you know what? If you'll think about just the compression, it compresses up. If somebody quits, you bring the width that comes with it. That's immediate monster raise. And so when you start to understand how this thing by design, if you just go complete 4 and 1, and you complete 4 and 1 and do it again for what you're doing through duplication. See, if you're the only one can do what you do, you ain't gonna last long.
Right.
You're probably grieving anyway. If you're doing something that can be duplicated, something on a simplistic level, on a 3rd grade level, like 4 and 1 is like 3rd grade. If you get that done, you know what's gonna happen? We're gonna start a Zoom, Chris and I, we've tomorrow night. And is it okay to invite him, Carissa?
Not tomorrow.
Oh, next Wednesday?
Yes.
Next Wednesday, we're going to call it Stage Ready. So we're preparing our organization, the leaders that want to step up, we're preparing them to become stage ready. Because Rhonda, you remember the first time they handed you the microphone?
I sure do.
When they introduced y'all into the Millionaires Club with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be stage ready, didn't you?
Yes.
So right now we're in millionaire preparation school, and this is not something we're playing with. It's not a joke. It's something that's going to happen in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be no. This is an ongoing training to develop your mind to get you stage ready. Because see, your story is what matters. Your story is what will get you on that stage, and your story is what you'll become a person of impact. Now you've heard my story. You'll hear Rhonda's. You've heard Carissa's, but there might be somebody that shows up and needs to hear your story. That you're the one that's sent there, that's going to turn them into that beast that comes out that impacts people around the world. All this thing is about enriching other people, adding value to other people. But you'll never enrich nor add value to nobody else if you're not enriched, or you don't feel like you're valuable. And if you drank 1 cup of coffee, you drank a bottle of collagen today, or you took reds and greens, you're working on becoming valuable. You're becoming an asset. You're investing in yourself, and you're an asset. See, in my world, if we don't make it, I don't take it. I have the best to keep me healthy, and I'm the one that shouldn't be here, or so they said. You know, I tell them, I said, y'all make mistakes every day. You just made a big one right then. But guys, here's what I want you to understand. I don't care if you're in network school. I love you to death. I unconditionally love you, and I'll do whatever I can for anybody in this company. And guess how much you owe me? Nothing. That's what family does, Rhonda.
Yep, absolutely. Rusty, thank you so much for your words of wisdom tonight. And I just know that we're probably all going to go home and sleep on this tonight, and really think about what was said here today, both between Carissa. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving to both of you. And thanks for giving us so much to think about tonight. This has been really great. I appreciate you so much. I'm grateful for our friendship, Rusty, and for you always having my back. And I know you know that I always have your back too. You too.
Yes,
Carissa.
for sure.
All right, y'all. Have a great night. Thank you so much for joining us again. And wow,
Happy Thanksgiving. Good night.
Got it.